They are treating me very well.
I'm not blinking torture.
Drink heavily.
I mean, for us doing reviews and entertainment and stuff like that, I mean, there's a lot to say, but like the Cliff Note version is think of yourself going online and what would you click on, and when the video starts, what would you click away from? Don't do that. Like, because a lot of people, it's like a lot of it is kind of basic, like when you're doing a video, just kind of ask yourself, well, would I watch this? Would I watch me? Would I listen to the way this is edited and the way it looks?
Do it first because you've got a passion for it.
Yeah, don't do it to make a living.
To make money, because like a lot of it just comes down to luck, right place, right time. I mean, talent's important too, but you never know. I mean, who would have known we would have gotten here?
If you fail, if you never go anywhere with it, if you do this and it never catches on, if you can still look back and say, I'm glad I did that. I did some fun stuff and I enjoyed it and it's my passion, then you're doing it for the right reason and go ahead and do it. But if you're doing it like, hey, I want to make a living at this, you don't want to take that angle. If you do, great. But if you actually make a living.
For instance, the thing we did, demo reel, bombed. But I look back and I was like, you know what? I got to write a sitcom. Who else got to do that? It was fun and I got to do it, and so what? Who cares if it bombed? Like, if you go into it with that attitude and just have fun with it, it's much better if you throw everything into it and then it's not working out and you're just like, nobody loves me. Because it's the internet. Nobody does really love me. Just go in with a lot of passion and just do it for the fun.
Yeah, do it constantly, too. And take feedback, but again, be honest about the feedback. If it sounds like, oh, they really have a point, do that. But if it sounds like they're just being jerks, or even if you disagree with it, then don't
there's
do
a
it.
difference
Be honest
between
with yourself.
Your editing could use some work and I hate you and your stupid face.
But be very honest with yourself. If you think something is really working, keep doing it, because the comments aren't always right. But if they mention something you're like, that's a good point, I might want to change that, you probably should change it. I don't. For some reason, going into
goes back to drinking.
For some reason, going into this, I just sort of assumed that's part of it. You see celebrities in every culture, and every celebrity, if they get famous enough, or even not that famous, is gonna have people that aren't gonna like them. That's just how it is. And the idea that you can win everybody over, I think, is sort of a foolish idea. So, you just have to go in knowing, hey, you're not going to win everybody, but if you can get even a small amount of people to like you, that's great. And when you have a large amount, that's even better. And when it's the majority, it's fantastic.
There's a great saying, which is, I love haters because they give me their undivided attention.
Yeah.
And it's true. And I'm like, wow, so you literally took the time out of your day to write this, to reply. And the longer they are and the more vitriol-filled, the funnier. Because it's just like, wow, for somebody who hates me so much, you really are giving me a lot of your time. Thank you.
Well, and on top of that, well, I think there has to be a passion. If they write that much, that means they have a real passion for what you're doing, even if they hate it. And like when we did the fight with James Rolfe, so many people thought it was serious. You shut up, you can't be doing this, which we were ecstatic about. We were so, because people really get invested in this and they get so into it and they want to pick a side, and it's like, and I was fine being the villain, because people are getting into it and they will come and they will watch your stuff. I think Man of Steel was one that everybody said, you can't review, we will be so angry and we will, not watch you and such. It's the most viewed video we've done. So I think it's one of those where if you can use that passion to your advantage and you're getting people invested, it's all to your benefit.
And some of it too is the anonymity, because I mean, it could be some 5-year-old saying you suck, and you have no idea.
Most of the time it is.
Yeah, most of the time it probably is. I'm going to sit here and be all upset because some 5-year-old went on YouTube and said, you guys suck. Like,
They actually typed in fuck, too.
Yeah, actually, it was like STHXUZ. Fuck.
I'm not a comic book guy. I'm really not. I saw that because it was such a unique idea, and I thought the artwork was so good. I'm like, I would kick myself if I didn't find out what happened in this story. So I'm like, I just bought it. But and there's beautiful, wonderful comics out there, wonderful artwork, but I haven't had time to read them or look at them. So, I mean, I love going through the artist alleys, but it's really just to kind of look at the pictures because that's all I have time to do.
Probably the Avatar one is the only one you would
Yeah,
probably...
that's the last one I think I read, the search.
I haven't read comics seriously since the early 90s.
Yeah, me too.
And there's things you gravitate towards and get into, and I loved comics for a chunk of my life, but after a while, like, life got in the way, and then high school, and we kept moving around and this and that, and I just kind of fell out of it, and now I'm more interested in looking up some of the things I've missed or going back and collecting other things. I've got all of Sandman right now. I've got a lot of the Batman's Long Halloween and stuff like that.
Those are good.
So yeah, I enjoy more collecting those things I missed than trying to keep up with what's going on right now.
But there's a lot. That's
I'll probably
not to say
catch
there's
up
not
with
good
Civil
stuff
War
going
in a
on
few
right now.
years because I seem to be 10 to 15 years behind everything.
No, because every time I see this stuff and I hear these stories, I mean, they're amazing. The comic world online, everything right now is amazing. It's so big, I just don't have time to keep up with it. The design is not, I think, is almost not fair to ask, because when I saw Heath Ledger as the Joker, I'm like, oh, this looks ridiculous. This isn't the Joker. The guy can't put.
No,
put
Doug,
mommy's
you're supposed to
makeup on wrong.
prejudge now before you don't know
Right.
anything about it.
So, I mean, I sort of looked at the image. I went, whoa, like, that's really intense and creepy, but I won't know until I see the performance. I have no idea. I don't know that much about the Suicide Squad either. So, I mean, I kind of know the general gist, but I've never read the comics or anything like that. So, I mean, I have no idea. Hopefully it's good.
I thought it looked cool. Scared me. I don't know what there is to say yet. Like, the amount of prejudging that goes on, whether it's Heath Ledger as Joker, everybody flipped out over that. Affleck as Batman. Now we've got Leto as Joker. Just wait till it comes out. Then you can say whatever you want and be like, this is the world's biggest piece of crap. But there's just not much to say yet. I thought the design looked interesting, and like, really, Ledger's Joker, way more than this one, I was more worried about just from what I saw. And I was like, well, I don't know how this is going to work. He just looks like some old lady that didn't put on his lipstick, right? But, it worked.
Yeah, it really worked.
In the end. So we saw the movie, and it made us a believer, so. I think DC's mistake is trying to catch up to Marvel and do their own universe. I don't know. Think of it this way. How many Marvel movies do we already have every year versus how many movies do people just see every year? Like, most people don't have unlimited disposable income. So now you're going to add DC into the mix. I just feel like they're just going to cannibalize the entire comic universe eventually. But
The one thing that we were saying that I think the one thing DC seems to be ahead of Marvel right now is that we are finally getting a female superhero movie. We're getting Wonder Woman, and it sounds like they're putting good people in there. They got one of the directors of Game of Thrones and Breaking Bad and stuff. I mean, a really talented director, and I mean, now is the time we have the technology and we have the means, and Marvel, I guess, is looking at saying, well, Supergirl and Catwoman didn't do well. Well, yeah, you got to give us a good movie first.
Yeah, that's always the lamest excuse when they're like, well, people, don't want to see female superheroes. I'm like, of course they do. You just haven't made a good movie yet.
Remember
jerks.
when they were making video games? It's like, hey, maybe this Tomb Raider game, maybe we should make it a female. I was like, no, nobody wants to see. Nobody wants to see a beautiful woman the whole time going around and kick ass. Where is there an audience for that? I mean, come on. And it's like, it's mostly guys out there. Yes, that is why it will
just
succeed.
Like that Mad Max movie, feminist propaganda.
Yeah, no, and every guy that sees Mad Max, I mean, just hates it, right? It's so not a manly movie in any way. I mean, so it's a silly argument, but that's the one area where I think DC is really, they're probably going to get Marvel on that one, because I mean, it'd be pretty hard to mess up Wonder Woman now. Like 20 years ago, it'd be very easy to mess up.
DC right now, their biggest accomplishment has been in TV. And I can't complain, because I'm normally more... Generally, Marvel has impressed me more, but DC's television work recently is fantastic. And Marvel finally got into it with Daredevil.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm kind of thinking maybe TV's the better format for them.
Yeah.
Because I'm just starting to hit a point where I'm like, there just might be some fatigue with just having to see all these movies. Whereas TV's kind of fun. You can just sit there and you can watch it at your own pace. And I've had fun watching Flash and Daredevil.
Arrow, yeah.
I got to get into Arrow. That's the next one. So And Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. With Peggy Carter. I liked that one. My reaction, 3 movies too late.
There it is. High five.
If we had the time, I would totally take 3 hours.
Yeah, it's really
to
a
set up
time thing.
lighting.
I mean, even changing to 2 weeks was like a big "can we do this?" Kind of thing for nostalgia creating. And we do that so we can write them easier and have more time for that, and get a little bit more like with characters and story and stuff. But yeah, a lot of it really is just a time issue. Because I mean, when you come down to it, you can light it, you can make anything visually interesting, put a lot of work into it. But if you don't have an interesting story or characters or comedy or any of that, I mean, who's going to watch it?
Yeah, in my perfect world, I would totally love to do that. But lighting and audio is always going to be the thing that if we have to cut for time, it's like,
yeah, that's
okay, just drag in a few lighting boxes around and then just place them wherever just to make sure our faces are lit. But, that's about it.
I'll say this. There's something we never want it to be like too big. I always kind of like keeping it a little cheap. Even ones that we put like all this time and effort into, it's like I still like it looking just a little cheap. It's like we put a lot of time and
if you go too big, they're gonna expect it every week.
Yeah, kind of. Well, not only that, even the anniversary is like I mean that took a lot of time to do and it cost us a lot and stuff like that. But we know it still looks cheap. I mean we turn our house into a spaceship, and that's clearly because it looks funny to see just like your basement suddenly. No, we're a spaceship.
And on those.
Right?
Yeah, and
really
I mean, on those,
you, yeah.
like, I had to learn how to color correct and post overnight, basically, because there were a lot of shots that we wanted to look way fancier. We couldn't do it, so I'm like, all right, we'll do it in post. And just school of hard knocks, like, I had a friend teach me how to do it, and I learned it in, like, a week. And same thing with Dragon Board. Dragon Board's probably the best-looking one, and that one I went into it going, okay, we're going to put a color filter here to turn this into dusk. We're going to do this to make it nighttime. So, like, we were able to do things with lighting in post that made it more interesting than it was when we were actually filming it there, because we didn't have a lot of control over lighting. So.
Yeah, we kind of go by the South Park way of doing it, where it's like we want it closer to the humor of the time and what's going on and how people talk and how they feel, initial impressions and stuff like that. Over how it looks. 'Cause South Park, looks a little cheap, and they are making so much money, and like they could probably very easily make this like a grand, incredible looking show, but the cheapness was part of the identity as well. So we still sort of like keeping that in, even if we get more of a budget or whatever. It's funny because there's always going to be, I think with anything, there's going to be like a purist fan base that never wants anything to change.
You don't have the same color wall.
Yeah, no, there were people that were upset that the wall was a slightly different color white. I mean, that should give you an idea. And no matter what, that's going to be everywhere. But the reception, really, for the most part, has been really good, because the ones that focus the most on character, songs, anything doing a review differently and incorporating more of a visual identity or even a musical identity to it, they usually break 1 million views, and they do really well, where the ones that we go back to mostly just talking in front of the wall, like maybe it's like, oh, I'm working on something else, this one I'll have to be a little bit more simple. We'll run it, and the purists will be like, haha, well, this is what we've been missing. This is what, and it'll, make not even half of what.
I mean, what we found out is the people who were just in it for just Doug talking in front of a wall.
There's not that many.
Are actually just a very vocal minority. They're totally in the minority because, like, they never bring in the same amount of views. So it's like, okay, well, you're all very shouty about the fact that it's different from what you want, but y'all ain't watching. Like, you're not bringing it in.
To me, it's very encouraging knowing that people do want to see something new. They want to see something that has more character, and it's just trying to do something that other reviews aren't doing. You know, you can incorporate like a storyline that actually ties in to what you're reviewing, and you can bring those two together, and they can work off of each other, and you can even find out about yourself or other people by doing it.
Those were things that influenced us, like Mystery Science Theater 3000. Like, we always liked the narrative they got flowing in between the movie they were showing, and so it's always something we kind of wanted to do anyway.
Yeah.
And now we got the means to.
So, there you go. Absolutely. Thank you.